Hello student, good day to all of you. Today we are going to study Secretarial Practice subject chapter number 3 issue of shares. In the last lecture we started third method of issue of shares, that is offering shares to existing employees. In that first method, sub method employee stock option scheme ESOS completed. So second method is employee stock purchase scheme. Under this scheme, the company offers equity shares to its employees at a discounted price, which they can buy at a future date. So the company deducts a certain amount from the salary of the employee towards the payment for the shares. So company provide these shares to their employees at a discounted price. So discounted price means lesser than the market price of shares, which they can buy at a future date. So such amount can be collected from the salary of the employee towards the payment for the shares. So there are certain provisions. Company must fulfill the following provisions while issuing shares to their employees. So first is different number of shares can be offered to different categories of employees. So there are various employees works under one organization. So different number of shares can be offered to such different categories of employees. Shares issued through ESPS should be immediately listed with the stock of exchange. ESPS shares will have a minimum of 1 year lock-in period from date of allotment if ESPS is not a part of public issue. Company has to fulfill the provisions of SEBI regulations 2014. So SEBI provides the guidelines to such type of shares. Then company has to fulfill the provisions which will be mentioned in the SEBI. Next one, company has to get approval of the shareholders through a special resolution to offer ESPS. Whenever company offers this type of shares to their employees, then approval of the shareholders through a special resolution. Special resolution will be passed under the shareholders meeting. Third one, stock appreciation rights scheme. Under this scheme, the employees are given a right to receive appreciation in the value of specified number of shares of the company at a future date. So, value will be appreciated under this scheme at a future date. The company allots a specified number of stock appreciation right units that are linked to the value of the company's shares on the date of allotment. On the relevant date, that is a future date, depending upon the appreciation in the value of shares which are linked to the SAR units, the employee is paid the appreciation value in cash or through equity shares. SARS is a form of bonus compensation given to the employees if the company performs well and its market price of shares goes up. So, under this scheme, equity shareholders can get bonus and right shares at a bonus shares they will get at a free of cost. Whenever company gets extra profit and the prices of the or market price of the shares goes up, increases, then such compensation, bonus compensation given to their employees. The employee does not have to pay for buying any shares. So under this scheme, employees will not pay any type of amount to the company. So company has to give employees a vesting period of minimum 1 year to exercise his option. There is no lock-in period for SARS. To issue SARS, company has to get approval of shareholders through a special resolution. So like other schemes, here also whenever company offers this type of shares to their employees, then special resolution will be passed by the shareholders of the company in the shareholders meeting, and for this type of issue there is no lock-in period. But in employee stock purchase scheme there will be lock-in period minimum of 1 year. Fourth one, sweat equity shares. These are shares issued by a company to its directors or employees at a discount or for consideration other than cash. It is issued in recognition of their valuable contribution to the company, which has resulted in increasing profits. Whenever employees or directors of the company try their level best, then they contribute their efforts to the company or increasing the profits of the company because of their valuable contribution. Then in such cases the company issue this type of shares to their employees and directors at a discount or for consideration other than cash. Sweat equity shares rank pari passu with other equity shares. These shares have a lock-in period of 3 years. That is, they cannot be transferred during this period. So, for this type of issue, there is a lock-in period of 3 years. In these 3 years, they cannot transfer their shares to other persons or cannot sell their shares to other. Company has to get the approval of shareholders through special resolution to issue this type of shares. So again, in these cases, the company passes special resolutions of, and approval of shareholders will be necessary, which can be through special resolution passing in the shareholders meeting. So pari passu means on equal footing, that is will be treated at par with other equity shares. Next one is private placement. When a company offers its securities to a selected group of persons not exceeding 200, it is called as private placement. So minimum is whenever company offers this type of securities, then this can be issued to selected group of persons, but this group not exceeding 200. So it is up to 200 meaning. So such type of issue is called as private placement. So here securities includes shares, bonds, debentures, etc. In other words, company offers its securities only to identified persons and not to the general public like employees, directors, members of the company. The board of directors select or identify the persons to be included in the select group. They can be mutual funds, institutional investors, etc. Company has to issue private placement offer letter along with the application. So whenever company send application form to this selected group, then company issue private placement offer letter along with the application. The share offered can be fully or partly paid up, and the consideration should be paid by check, demand draft, etc., but not by cashier. Cash will not be accepted. So amount will be paid by check or demand draft. Right to reunification is not given to applicants under private placement. Company has to get approval of shareholders through a special resolution. So here also the approval of shareholder is necessary through a special resolution passing in the shareholders meeting. So company make private placement by the way of first rights issue and second one preferential allotment. So first one rights issue means it can be provided to existing equity shareholders, which can be seen we earlier. Second one, preferential allotment. When a company issues specified securities, that is equity shares or securities that can be converted into equity shares in future to a select group of persons or preferential basis, it is called as preferential allotment. There are certain types of preferentials which can be converted, that is convertible preferentials. into equity shares. So this type of preferential allotment is to be given to such type of shares like preference shares. So usually the company offers preferential allotment to promoters, existing shareholders, employees, venture capitalists, etc. The shares offered are fully paid up and the applicants have to pay the consideration in cash. So this type of shares, whenever issued this type of shares, these shares are fully paid up and applicants have to pay the consideration in cash, not by check, not by demand draft, but in cash. Shares issued under preferential allotment have no voting rights because whenever preference shares converted into equity shares, so this type of shares preferential allotment, under preferential allotment they did not get voting rights. Approval of shareholders in the form of special resolution is needed to make preferential allotment. Companies usually go for preferential allotment as it is not only less time consuming but also involves less paperwork and formalities because this can be issued to existing shareholders. So there is a less paperwork and no formalities, and for this type of issue there will be approval of shareholder necessary by passing special resolution in the general meeting. So today we studied employee stock purchase scheme, stock appreciation rights scheme, private placement by the way of rights issue, and preferential allotment. In the next lecture, we studied allotment of shares. Till then, thank you.